Hey, Hare Krishna. Welcome everyone. Good evening. Okay, we can start our bhajan. Namah Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine Namah
Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimarte Bhakti Vedanta Swami Iti Namine
Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Sunyavadi Paschatyadeshatarine
Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashasha Deshatarine
Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda
Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare
Haribol to everyone. Hare Krishna.
Hare Bol.
Hare Krishna. Miraj. Miraj Aura. Hi Aura. Hello. Okay. Good evening again, everyone. Hare Krishna.
Good evening, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Good evening, Prabhu. Devaki Nandana Krishna Gita Patena Tushyati Yata Navedidhanena Yajna Tirtha Vritadibihi. The son of Devaki, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, cannot be satisfied by anyone's study of the Vedas, charity, sacrifice, pilgrimage, or vows, as much as he is satisfied by the devotional recitation of the Gita. So today, let's quickly go to Tirupati and come back, okay? So you know we have a Tirupati Balaji temple there, the famous one in Tirupati. But at the foot here, we also have ISKCON Tirupati, and this is how it looks like from the outside. Very beautiful temple. This is the daytime. Okay, this is the deity. They also have Ashtasakis like Mayapur. Okay, and they have goshalas, they have lots and lots of cows, and they also have a school under the temple. Okay, and if you have been there, I have been there once, they have this Tirupati laddu as big as the one that we get in Tirupati, and it tastes exactly the same. Okay, so don't miss it. If you go to Tirupati, do drop by ISKCON Tirupati and get that laddu also, because in Tirupati temple the laddu is limited, right? So here probably you can buy more. Okay, it's praise to the spiritual teachers. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chaksurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vigna Vinasha Narsimha iti Namini. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami iti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvasesha Sunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna
Hare
Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare. Srila Prabhupada ki
Jai.
Jai. Okay, Gita Mahatmya, Kartini Mataji.
Samsara Sagaram Goram Tartum Ichati Yo Nara Gita Navam Samasadhya Param Yati Sukhenasa. A person who wants to cross over the ghastly ocean of material suffering can do so very easily by taking shelter of the boat of the Bhagavad Gita.
Okay, thank you, Mataji.
Thank
So let's hop on the boat and cross the ocean of the material suffering. Ghoram, ghastly. Ghoram means ghastly. Okay. Sagara means ocean. Samsara means material. So it's material ocean. Samsara Sagaram. Okay. So we are at chapter 15, the yoga of the Supreme Person. So this chapter has two big sections. So first, we will learn about the tree, the imperishable banyan tree. Second, Krishna will speak about himself. Okay, that is called Purusha Uttama, supreme person. Purusha means person, Uttama means the supreme person. Okay, so the synopsis of the chapter is this. The ultimate purpose of Vedic knowledge is to detach oneself from the entanglement of the material world and to understand Lord Krishna as the supreme personality of Godhead. One who understands Krishna's supreme identity, surrenders unto him, and engages in his devotional service. Okay, so in chapter 14, towards the end of chapter 14, Krishna describes that one transcends the mode through devotional service. So last Friday, we saw all the three modes. And then finally, Krishna concludes that a devotee transcends all these three modes just by engaging in devotional service. Okay, but to attain devotion to him, we have to have what from the material world? What should be our step? What should be our action? So what we should do?
Devotional service.
Okay, to get what?
to attain God and to achieve the desire.
Oh, okay. What desire, Mataji?
Any desire, because you're uh, asked to see the picture, right? So what I see is above God is the desire. So to achieve whatever we want,
Ah,
first we have to achieve
oh,
the God.
okay, very good. Okay, what else? What should we get from material world if you want to advance? What is that term? How did Krishna give a solution to Arjuna when he had difficulty in controlling the mind?
Detachment.
Yes, detachment. To attain devotion to him, one needs detachment from the material world. Remember the sandwich picture? I did not put this in because I prepared in the office, so I didn't have that picture. All right, so Krishna will begin the chapter 15 by explaining the need for detachment. All right, and he uses a metaphor. Okay, he uses an example, he uses an analogy. He's using a banyan tree to explain this philosophy. And then only Krishna will go into the Purushottama Yoga. Okay, all right, so this is our overview for today. So we are going to use that detachment to travel from material world to spiritual world, to transcend material world to spiritual world. And then Krishna will touch these two slokas, 15.8 to 9. Krishna will talk about transmigration, which you have probably already, you probably will still remember that we have covered this in chapter 2, and then we covered in chapter 8, attaining the supreme. Okay, so here Krishna will touch on that again. And then Krishna will show different ways how he maintains the creation. And then what does the Vedanta say? Remember, today I sent an overview. So why? Because we are going to see the conclusion of the Vedanta Sutra here, the Vedas. Okay, so now the fact is that although the living entities are Krishna's part and parcel, okay, they are struggling for existence. Okay, because why? They are entangled in this banyan tree of the material world. So imagine this material world is a big, huge banyan tree. Okay, so imagine the souls are entangled, jumping from leaf to leaf, branch to branch. Okay, even though we are part and parcel of Krishna, but due to the contact with the material nature, we are jumping here and stuck in this big banyan tree. So we need to detach ourselves from this banyan tree and to go back to the spiritual world by surrendering to Krishna. Okay, so we can proceed to the spiritual world. Now, this banyan tree is described by Krishna in the first 5 verses. Okay, this chapter total has only 20 slokas. All right, so out of the 25, Krishna will explain on this this banyan tree, the rest of it on the Purushottama Yoga. Okay, so let's look at this tree. All right, so this is how we are going from material world to spiritual world. This is a tree where Krishna starts speaking in 15.1. Okay, so can you imagine there's an upside down tree? So the root is on the top, there's trunk and the branch are going downward and the leaves are here. Okay, so let's see how Krishna explains this material world to this, this tree. Yeah? Okay, nobody? Who wants to go?
I can read Mataji.
Okay, Janani Mataji.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "It is said that there is an imperishable banyan tree that has its roots upward and its branches down the Vedic time. One who knows this tree is the knower of the Vedas."
Okay, thank you, Mataji. So, imperishable banyan tree, Urdhva Moolam Adha Sakam, Ashwata. Ashwata means it's the banyan tree. Okay, so generally, for one who is engaged in fruitive activities, this banyan tree is explaining that one who is engaged in fruitive activities, there is no end to this banyan tree, which is very, very deeply rooted. Okay, so the tree that we have now, right, the leaves at the top and then the roots below. So the root as much as the root is so embedded into the sand, that much how our fruitive activities are rooted in this material world. And then we are wandering from one branch to one branch with no end. However, Krishna is explaining here, there is an imperishable banyan tree in the spiritual world with the roots upward and branches down, and the leaves are the Vedic hymns. Okay, so this is something that we don't really expect of a tree. Okay, mana ada tree upside down, but this is how Krishna is giving an example, which means the one that you see in the water, this is what Krishna is explaining. The root up, the branch all down, the leaves down. Okay, Krishna says this is actually what's in the spiritual world, and what we have is a reflection of that tree in this material world. Okay, so Krishna will explain how we are all entangled in these modes of nature. Okay, and this part here, where he says the leaves are the Vedic hymns, actually the leaves are the most beautiful part of a tree, yes or not? Okay, so the leaves or the Vedic hymns is actually meant to elevate human being through regulative activities, okay, distinguishing them from ordinary animal life. But what happens is that human being, they take this the ritualistic flowery words of Vedas to be more and more engaged in fruitive activities. So thus they enjoy the fruits unlimitedly. Okay, so they are actually not using the actual purpose of the Vedas to elevate themselves. Okay, so don't worry, we will go in further. Okay, Krishna says here, the material world is like a banyan tree, inverted banyan tree compared to the spiritual world. Okay, so this is what Krishna is saying, root upward, branches and the leaves are coming down. Okay, so this is what it is. Okay, the one on the left is what we have in material world. The one on the right is what Krishna is explaining. So let's change this photo to the one that I shared in the group. Okay, so who wants to share what is your first impression of this picture? What do you think actually? Why this tree is terbalik? It's like a rumusan, you know, tersurat and tersirat. You can tell anything. You can tell the tersurat, you can tell me the tersirat. See whether you're getting the points. Kaya Mataji, would you like to elaborate?
No, as what generally I saw, it's
Mhm.
like to achieve desire, we have to achieve God. And you explained earlier, we have to detach ourselves from this route to achieve the desire that we want.
Okay, good. Good, Mataji. Who else?
What I see is the root is a imagination of all sources start from the ground. I mean the root. So it's a source of a tree's life, where it gets nutrition to grow the branches, leaves, and all that. So it's actually a source, and the other things actually starts from the root.
Okay, so who's at the root, Prabhu? Who can you see at the root here?
Brahman.
Okay,
Brahma.
so how do you relate that to your
He's a creator, right?
Okay. All right, who else? One more person. Yes, Param.
I try, Mataji.
Yes.
Root, Paramatma, represent Paramatma on top.
Okay. So why Lord Brahma is sitting there on the root?
Lord Brahma sitting on the root.
Can you see?
Oh, that is creation. The root creates the tree.
Okay, very good. You noted something. Everybody noted something. Jason Prabhu noted something. Kaya Mataji noted something. Anybody else who like to share? You would have noted something that others have not noted. Can you see here? As I go
All
down.
the gods come from Brahma, and Brahma is at the top. Since the root is up, the tree is upside down, because
Okay.
Brahma is at the top and everything comes from him.
Okay. So, okay, let me show you. These are all the devas here. Okay, this is liberation. I don't know who is this white guy here. There's Lord Ganesha. And this is, who's this person on a white elephant?
Lord Indra.
Indra.
Who's this sitting with the musical instrument here?
Saraswati.
No.
Narada.
Narada Muni.
Narada.
Who is this? Who is this behind? Got effulgence and he's on horse. He's got a chariot. He's on horse.
Sunlord.
Yeah,
Surya
I could see
Bhagavan.
that. Yeah, and we have somebody flying here. Okay, can you see these two people here doing something around the fire? What do you think is that?
Yakya?
Yeah. Okay. Who is this person here? What this guy doing here?
Devotee.
He's doing prayers. Okay,
Yes.
okay, very good. As we go down, we go down. Now, what do you see here? Two people here buying, selling.
Businesses.
Trade.
Yes, they're doing businesses. So the earlier we saw a person praying, right? So that represents religiosity. Okay, as we go down here, what do you see here on the in this branch? I don't know if you can see my cursor here or not.
Can
Okay. Here.
all the material desires in that level.
Yeah, sense gratification. And then you see here this guy with a bow and arrow. What is he trying to do?
Kill the deer.
Yeah, okay. So as you go down, can you see the impious acts are increasing? Okay, below these two people doing business here, what's happening here?
Murder.
Murder. Okay, saw that. Okay, so now we are going down further. What do you see here? There's some animals here, cow here, tiger here.
Animal kingdom, is it?
Is moving to animal kingdom. And then you see here snake, tortoise, and some crawling creatures.
Reptiles.
Yeah. So what does that show? What do you think?
It's a rebirth that you go through.
So what's the difference? Why they put these big animals here and then some other kind of elements here?
By transmigration, from the lower animals to the higher animals.
No.
From the, what is it? The
Is it
amphibians
The
to
good
the,
passion and
Is it how human beings are turning into from
Yes.
devas to animals?
Yes, Prabhu, you got that. Very good. So, very good, lah. This group. I see, Prabhu. This question I never asked in my previous groups. Okay, honestly, and all the answers you gave already. Okay, so we are on this tree. Let's talk about the desire first. We are on this tree based on our material desires. Okay, according to our desires, we get our body somewhere on this tree. Okay, so like most of you say, you see, as you go high, you have high births like the devas and people who doing, and then as you go down, people do yagyas, people engage in religiosity, and then as they engage in more and more fruitive activities, they get entangled here in this tree as you go down.
Slowly changing.
Yes, slowly changing. Okay. All right. The higher living entities are at the top of the tree. The highest is here Lord Brahma. Okay, because all the creation starts from him. Human being, these are all devas. The first at the top here, he is the supreme. Okay, these are all devas, right? He is the supreme among the devas. Okay, it's that way. As you go down, you have human beings here in the middle. All right, and then as you go down further, you will see lower living entities like animals. All right, and then trees at the bottom of the tree. So if you have noticed all the pictures that I've shown on transmigration, the lowest species of life is from the aquatic, and then it goes up to the beasts. Okay, so this is the story of this tree. So everything comes from the Lord. Sorry,
Mataji, so can we relate this to chapter 14 when you talk about goodness, passion, and ignorance?
Yes, can. This is how you advance, Prabhu. Ignorance, passion, goodness, and then you go up, and then you transcend it, you go to the spiritual world, Vaikuntha planets. All right.
Excuse me, Mataji, can we also relate this to the planetary systems, the lower planet, middle planet.
Yes, that's true also, because remember, when you die in the mode of goodness, you appear in the planet of sages, and if you are in the mode of goodness, worshipping certain devas, you go to their planets. Yes, that's correct. So this is how the tree is. Okay, so but what Krishna is saying here, instead of our roots going into deep into the ground due to our fruitive activities, we should actually find our root upwards to where we came from. Okay, so don't worry, I have this label thing coming up. So this is an allegory of a banyan tree to describe the entire material world. So now we are back to the material world tree of the material world. Okay, so these roots, they're actually bound to the fruitive activity that you don't know where the root is ending. Okay, so this is the real meaning. The real meaning is towards Lord Brahma's abode. Okay, where the creation begins. Okay, so when we understand this, Krishna said we can get out of this. And above that is Lord Krishna, the source of everything. So like I say, the leaves are the most beautiful thing about a tree. And that is actually Vedic hymns, which actual purpose is to elevate oneself. So how the leaves going to elevate us is this way. People are attracted to the leaves of trees. So similarly, people are attracted towards the Vedas because of the Vedic hymns, the Vedic injunction, because it allows us to enjoy. All right. So, but what happens is people use that and then they get attracted to material world. The more they do that, they find that they get that nice enjoyment. So they stay on this tree. Okay, again, the purpose of the Vedic hymns to elevate oneself gradually. They can actually take us to higher planets. So that is the purpose actually. Now, these branches, they are, sorry, okay, these are leaves. Leaves are meant, leaf is, the meaning of leaf is enjoyment. And then next part of the tree is the branches. The branches are like we are engaging in various activities. So we saw in chapter 14 that how the activities are nourished or actually influenced by the three modes of material nature. So all our activities is revolving around these three modes. And then we have twigs. The twigs are what we can bring in the knowledge that we learned in chapter 13, the sense objects, knowledge acquiring senses. Okay, like the twigs are like your little hands and legs, so you acquire knowledge from that and it allows you to enjoy things. Okay, and this tree is getting information through the sense objects. So that's how the tree works. Finally, when you are engaged in a lot of activities, what do you get at the end? This is for you to fill in. What is ultimately people want from a tree? From your activities here? What do you want to enjoy finally?
The fruit.
Yes, you guys are too clever. Yes, it's fruits. Okay, fruits, the result of the activities. Okay, the 4 fruits of the Vedic scriptures are Artha, Kama, Dharma, Moksha. Artha means economic values. Okay, the Vedic scriptures allow us to enjoy regulatedly to acquire economic values. That is Artha. Next, pleasure. Okay, Kama. Next, righteousness, Dharma. And finally, it brings you to Moksha, liberation. Okay, however, we are entangled in this tree because of our enjoyment, and the root is so much bound to the fruity activities and it goes so deep and deep and deep that you don't know where it's going. There's no ending infinitely. All right, so what shall we do with this tree? Tree of attachment, tree of bound to the fruity activities. Forever we are jumping from branch to branch. What we should do to this tree?
Oh, that's why I uprooted lah.
If cannot uproot, what should we do? What do you do when a tree in your garden becomes so wild, cannot do anything?
Trim it.
Trim it. I knew everybody is going to say trim it. What is the extreme thing that you can do?
Chop it off.
Chop it off. Yes. cut. Very good. So if it is a real tree, you can chop it off. With what you will chop it off?
A saw.
Saw, axe. That is if you have a real tree. Now we have an allegory banyan tree. So how are we going to cut that tree? What weapon are you going to use?
Mind.
Already given the clue in the beginning of the class.
Detachment, is it number 2?
Yes, with the weapon of detachment. Okay, so can you just simply use an axe that is not sharp? You need to sharpen it. So how are you going to sharpen this weapon of detachment? In what way we can sharpen this detachment?
Bhakti.
Bhakti, very good. What else?
Knowledge.
Yes, knowledge. Very good. Sharpen with knowledge and determination. And after doing this, besides doing this, we also need to learn, okay, we already cut off this deeply rooted tree of our material world. And then where do we go? So the next thing you want to know is, where should I go after this? So which means you need text from text 3 to 4, Krishna speaks about after you cut this, with determination, you cut this strongly rooted tree with the weapon of detachment. You also need to seek what is that place from which, having gone, you will never come back. Okay, we need to find that out. And then by knowing where we're going to go, and we have to surrender to the Supreme Lord, that where everything came from, that is where we're going to go. Okay, since time immemorial that we've been coming down from there. So we want to go back there. Okay, so I reiterate, our way out of this tree is to cut it with an axe, which is detachment sharpened with knowledge and determination. The sharper the axe, the easier to cut the tree. So how long are we going to enjoy the reflection or the inverted reflection of this, the spiritual tree, the permanent happy tree? Okay, so we don't want reflection of money, we want real money. All right, so we don't want the illusory tree, we want the real tree, the reality. Okay, so we should not be blinded by the temporary nature of the material. All these beautiful leaves, the enjoyment that the Vedic hymns give, all temporary. There is a beginning, there is end. So we have the story here. Okay, the necklace and the monkey. Okay, so the story goes like this. One day, a king and queen were passing by. So the queen was wearing this beautiful diamond necklace, right? A monkey, as usual, they like to snatch things from your hand. So it snatched the necklace from the queen's neck and ran towards a tree, a river, and there's a tree next to it. Okay, and then it went disappearing. All right, and people thought that the monkey has dropped the necklace into the water because somebody said, hey, I can see necklace in the water. So everybody jumped because there was a reward announced for those whoever can get back the necklace and return to the queen. Okay, so suddenly somebody told them that, hey, I can see the necklace in the water. Then everybody jumped into the water and looked for it because they could see the necklace in the water. All right, but as they dive, they cannot find the necklace, but the necklace was, it's appeared to be in the water. So this was going on for some time. And then there was a sage meditating under the tree beside the river. I told you, right? There's a tree beside the river. And then he saw the kiosk and he said, what are you all doing? No, there's a necklace in the river. We want to take it. There is no necklace in the river. You are all fools. The necklace that you see in the river is actually a reflection of the necklace dangling in the tree. Look up the banyan tree. The necklace is hanging from there. Okay, so what happened was the monkey actually ran up the tree, climbed up the tree and put the necklace there. So only the reflection was being seen in the water and everybody trying to get that. So they can dive and swim for a long time, but they will never get the real necklace, which means that's what we are also doing. We are thinking of getting the happiness in this material world, but actually we will never get it. Okay, so that is the story that establishes that material world is reflection of the real world, the spiritual world. We keep on jumping into the material world deeper and deeper for temporary happiness. This is the sad part. Okay, we are trying deeper and deeper, trying harder and harder. Okay, got one problem, we try to do so many other arrangements to cover this problem, then another problem crops up or more problem comes up. Okay, so it's usually that is the case. So real happiness is actually in the spiritual world. Remember, this material world is just 1/4 of the entire creation, and the spiritual world is 1/3. So if you think this is so happy and enjoyable to be here, always remember there is a beginning, there is an end to the happiness that we have here, and we want to go somewhere the happiness has no end. Okay, so real happiness is actually in the spiritual world, back home, back to Godhead. Okay, so this is our story. We are attracted by the reflection of the real world. The spiritual world is the real world. Okay, so so Lord has given us this example for us to get this knowledge and find our way to be detached from this material world. Okay, remember, material world is the reflection, spiritual world is the real tree. Okay, right. So this actually leads us into the next process of transmigration. As we seek happiness deeper and deeper, this is where we are falling. We are falling into endless process of transmigration. Okay, so this is a recap. Okay, I will skip this. All right, so remember that we wanted to, other than cutting this deeply rooted tree with a weapon of detachment, okay, we want to, what is the next thing that we need to do other than cutting the deeply rooted tree with a weapon of detachment? What is the next thing I mentioned? Krishna mentioned actually. Finding what? Okay, knowledge, yes. Knowledge about what? Where we want to go? We need to find out something, right? What was that? We want to go back to the place where we
Spiritual world.
Yes,
Godhead.
correct. Where the root is starting. We want to find our way back there. All right. So here next, Krishna is explaining how that spiritual world is going to look like. Looks like. Okay. This is how Krishna explains. 15.6. Anybody would like to read this?
Okay, Mataji, I'll read.
Yes, can.
That abode of mind is not illumined by the sun or moon, nor by electricity. One who reaches it never returns to this material world.
Thank you, Prabhu. So there are 2 points here. First one, Krishna is telling the nature of his abode. All right. Our house, our light, all powered by electricity, fire, lots of other energies. Even though it's alternate energies, still got energy. All right. But Krishna's abode doesn't have sun, doesn't have moon, doesn't have stars. Everything is illuminated by himself. Okay, the next point is when we go there, we will never come back. And this is not the first time Krishna is saying this. He has mentioned this previously. All right, so this sloka gives you a glimpse of the qualities of the spiritual world, Krishna Loka or Goloka Vrindavan or Vaikuntha planets. Okay, this is a verse that Krishna says about his planet, about his abode. Another place in Upanishad, one Upanishad, Katha Upanishad, in this verse. Who's this person here? Who knows this person? This sage? Adi Sankaracharya. Whose incarnation is this sage? Whose incarnation? A very prominent personality's incarnation. Adi Sankaracharya. I have mentioned his name before. He provided the Gita Mahatmya.
Lord Shiva?
Yes, remember the first 7 days we chanted the Gita Mahatmya given by Sripad Adi Sankaracharya, the incarnation of Lord Shiva. So Adi Shankaracharya has given commentary on Katha Upanishad. And who wants to read this one here, the direct translation and his commentary on how the spiritual world looks like?
Me, Mataji.
Okay, Kartini Mataji.
The sun does not shine there, nor do the moon and the stars, nor do these lightnings shine. How could this fire, him shining, all shine after? All this shines by his light. Adi Shankara's commentary. All this, the sun and the rest who shine only after him, the Lord of all, as water, fire band, etc., from their contact with fire, burn after the burning fire, and not by their own inherent virtue. It is by his light only all this, the sun and the rest shine.
Thank you, Mataji. So here Adi Shankaracharya given the commentary that this place is not illuminated by the sun and the rest that shines. Okay, and he says that it is by his light only that everything is shining. Okay, and here in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says the abode of mind is not illumined by the sun or moon nor by electricity. So this is why I explain. I put in the WhatsApp group. Sometimes we use this kind of verses to complement what Krishna says. So we can we don't only have one source of saying certain things. All right. Okay. So with that, we are going to we are done with the how does the spiritual world looks like. Okay. So you're moving to the next section, transmigration, because due to the enjoyments, we are entangled in this material world, and because our activities under the different modes of nature, we are transmigrating. So we are entering here, and the next verse is 15.8. But so before that, it's 15.7. Krishna says, the living entities in this conditioned world are my fragmental parts. They are my part and parcel. Due to conditioned life, they are struggling very hard with it, with the six senses, which include the mind. So the mind also deluding us, and that's why we are transmigrating. Okay, so in subsequent verses, Krishna will elaborate how the jiva carrying the senses is struggling, okay, in this world. So there are 2 points that we'll cover in the next 2 verses: how or why the living entities take another body. Number 2, what does he get in the next body? Okay, so 15.8, Kaya Mataji, and 9.
The living entity in the material world carries his different conceptions of life from one body to another, as their air carries aromas. Thus, he takes one kind of body and again quits it to another. The living entity, thus taking another gross body, obtains a certain type of ear, eye, tongue, nose, and sense of touch, which are grouped about the mind. He thus enjoys a particular set of sense objects.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Mataji. So what are the 2 things Krishna is covering here? I mentioned a while ago. What are the 2 points here? Anybody heard what I said? Remember when I mentioned here that we're going to cover 2 points in these 2 verses? You can read the verse one more time. Okay, you can silently read. And what does this underlined statement is telling us? I mentioned
Control
2
our
points.
senses.
So what is it showing? I said that we're going to cover 2 points from this verse.
How we transcend.
Yes, how we transmigrate. Okay, that's 1, correct. Number 2. Look at the second line. What does it show?
Is it the limitation of senses?
No. The first, this 15.
It's a particular function.
Okay. So I repeat, I think you all never listen what I said. So 15.8 actually talking about how we change body. Okay. How this living entity, we are as living entity, the soul, subtle body is covering the layer, the soul. It carries the different conception of life from one body to another. We are carrying our impressions from past lives into the next life. So that is how we transmigrate. We are carrying the memories, the impressions. Okay, this is why we learned about the subtle body in the previous chapter, chapter 13. Okay, number 2, when you transmigrate, what do you get? What do we get? We obtain a certain type of ear, eye, tongue, nose, and sense of touch, which are grouped about the mind. Whatever the mind has registered from the previous life, it will influence what kind of senses we will develop. Are we going to develop a very strong ears, hearing sense? Are we going to develop a strong eyesight? Are we going to develop strong taste or sense of taste, or strong sense of smell, or very sensitive to touch? So all this, for example, Prabhupada gave, let's say you are so attached to having perfumes. So probably you'll be born as a deer, which produces perfume. All right. So like that, whatever we have registered in our mind, so accordingly, we will get the body. So 2 points covered here, how our impressions is carried forward, just like the air carries aromas. If the air goes through a wonderful, beautiful, and nice, fragrant garden of roses, then wherever the air is taking the aroma, that place will be will be filled with good fragrance. If the air is going through a pile of garbage, stinky garbage, then wherever the air goes, it will bring that smell along. So like that, wherever we are going, whatever we are doing, that impressions we will carry on. Okay, so the thoughts in this life arrange for the body in the next life, just like the air carries the aroma. Okay, so the same way our mind carries different ideas and thoughts about who we are. Okay, in this way we get another body. Okay, what else? You know, sometimes some birds can see very sharply from a distance, like eagle, right? So that we have cats that can see in the dark. All right, and some animals have very powerful sense of hearing. All right, they may hear the slightest sound. Sometimes we cannot hear some things, but the dogs can hear, right? So like that. All right, so whatever qualification we have in this life, we get the body accordingly in next life. And then yeah, so that's about it about this. What else? So he thus enjoys a particular set of sense objects. So we want to be very careful. If you think we have some certain strong sense enjoyments on one of the senses, then we try to purify it. Okay, so we have to be very careful. Okay, I think that's about it for this verse. All right, this actually explains the mind's power to determine the jiva's future. So you see, your mind has to be very careful. Okay, so this is how the impression is carried on. We covered this in chapter 13, but we can do a refresher here. In the center is the soul. All right, it's covered by the subtle body, which is the mind, false ego, and intelligence. So actually, this is false ego. All right, the outer body is the gross body. The outer layer is the gross body comprised of
the 5 elements.
Yes, the 5 elements. Okay, so we have 3 bodies: the gross body, the subtle body, and the soul, which is our spiritual body. All right, the soul is eternal. It is spiritual. It doesn't take birth or it doesn't die. All right, the gross body is with the subtle body. Okay, which is when we die, we give up this gross body. And then this, the 3 layers, it carries the soul into next life. So like this, we'll spin, 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 and go. Okay, right? So Lord will continue to give us more knowledge here. Okay, we are done with this. Now Krishna is going to talk about the Purushottama Yoga. So he's going to show us how he's maintaining this world. All right, and he will show how in a different aspect he's maintaining this world. 15.12. Sam Prabhu.
The splendor of the sun, which dissipates the darkness of this whole world, comes from me, and the splendor of the moon and the splendor of fire are also from me. I enter into each planet by my energy. Oh, sorry. I enter into each planet, and by my energy, they stay in orbit. I become the moon and thereby supply the juice of all life to vegetables.
Okay, thank you, Prabhu. So in 15.12, Krishna is talking about how he is the source of all the lights. All right, so the how he maintains the world. He maintains the world by being the source of light. Okay, the source of light of sun comes from him. The source of light of moon comes from him. Okay, so that is one. What is the next point Krishna says here? Oh, he also says he's the source of the fire. The splendor of fire is also from him. So the sun, the moon, the fire all comes from him. What is the next point in this slide?
The planets stay in orbit by his energy.
Correct. He enters the planet and with his energy, he's maintaining the orbits. What is the third point here?
Juice
He
juice
becomes the
supply
moon
to all
and
vegetables.
supply the juice.
So does this jive scientifically? What is that science we call the study on plants? So it is true that the moon
Botany, right?
what's that, Prabhu? Botany. Oh, okay. Yeah, so Krishna says here that as moon, he is providing the juice of life to all vegetables. Okay, so as a sun, as moon, as fire, with energy, keeping the all the planets in their orbit, and as moon, he's supplying the juice. So like this is explaining Krishna as maintainer at cosmic level. Okay, at a cosmic level, how he's maintaining by being all these. All right, so many planets are floating in space. So we pick up some, a handful of grains of sand, it falls, right? It doesn't stay in the air, but Krishna enters and keep all the heavy planets in their orbit. Tada, laga, all that. Of course, we have heard so many stories that prediction that these two planets going to hit each other. So can you see Krishna put them so perfectly? It doesn't hit each other. Okay, so that's one. All right, so all these lights, we have one. Okay, so earlier Krishna is the maintainer at cosmic level. Here Krishna is explaining how he's the maintainer at our personal level. 14, Jai Silan Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. I am the fire of digestion in the body of all living entities, and I join with the air of life, outgoing and incoming, to digest the 4 kinds of foodstuff.
Right, okay. So here Krishna is talking about how he's the maintainer at our personal level. Okay, when we eat food, we have to have the power to digest the food. So that comes from the fire of digestion, and that fire Krishna say is coming from him. I mean, he is the fire of digestion. So if you don't have good digestion, then we won't be able to eat or digest the food properly. We will not have good appetite. So Krishna provides the fire of digestion so we can have good appetite. Okay, and he also, the second point, he says that I am the air that is going in and out so that we can digest 4 kinds of food. Okay, what are those food? Is food that's licked, chewed, swallowed, and sucked. So all these kind of food Krishna is helping us to digest. Krishna is so kind, even that also he has to help us. Okay, so like a father, he is providing us things from cosmic level, and he's also giving us at personal level. Okay, so this aspect, right, Krishna's maintaining the cosmic level, Krishna's maintaining at personal level, all this through his energy, and that energy is his aspect of Brahman. Okay, he is playing all this maintaining role via his role as Brahman. Okay, and then what is the next level? What is the next level after Brahman? Anybody?
Paramatma.
Yes. So next we're going to see how Krishna establishes his position as maintainer in this world. Okay, he's going to show the potency of Paramatma. 15:15. Pushpa Mataji.
Okay, 15:15. Okay, I am seated in everyone's heart, and from me come remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. By all the Vedas, I am to be known indeed. I am the complier of Vedanta, and I am the knower of the Vedas.
Okay, thank you, Prabhu. So generally, okay, this one is Krishna is telling that he initiates all activities. Earlier, he was the source of the lights, and then he provides the digestion fire. Okay, now as Paramatma, he is initiating all activities that arise from within us. Okay, so now the fact that we all know that is living entity forgets everything of his past life, but the super soul has been accompanying our soul for timeless, from beginning of time, all right, for countless number of births. So he witnesses all our work, and then if he wishes, then he can give us remembrance. Okay, and he will give us the required knowledge to start our deeds, to continue or to resume. Okay, so the remembrance, knowledge, forgetfulness come from him. If he wants to give us remembrance, he will give us the knowledge so that we'll continue the journey. If not, he will give us forgetfulness. All right, so the Lord is not only pervading as Brahman. Okay, pervading means like externally he is pervading everything, but he's also localized in everyone's heart. He's outside and he's inside. And finally, here Krishna concluding that he is the knower of the Vedas. Okay, here again, Krishna describing his position as Paramatma sitting in everyone's heart. So you have seen all this, why this chapter 15 already, so many places Krishna already explained that super soul seated in everybody's heart, and I'm the basis of the super soul. He will say like that. Okay, so as a super soul, Krishna provides like this, gives knowledge, remembrance, forgetfulness. Okay. And then, yeah, these are the 2 points we have to remember. As Paramatma, he gives us these 3 items here. And then he is saying that I am to be known through these Vedas. He is the purpose of studying the Vedas. He is the knower of the Vedas. He is the goal of the Vedas. Okay. Vedanta. Vedanta means, Veda means knowledge, Anta means end. So that is the end of the Vedanta. That is the conclusion of the Vedas. Okay. So here, I reiterate, the Lord actually explains as Paramatma, he helps to maintain everything in the material world as localized God. Okay, so the next section is summary of the Vedas and Vedanta. So now earlier Krishna already concluded that he is the goal of the Vedas. Now Krishna will speak of essence of Vedas in the next 3 verses. And that way he will conclusively establish his position as the supreme. So in these 3 verses, Krishna will talk about 2 kinds of living entities. One is fallible, another one is infallible. What is fallible? What do you think? What is fallible? Anyone?
Making mistakes.
Yes, fallible means making mistakes. Infallible means not making mistakes. So in 15.16, Krishna talks about 2 kinds of living entities, Shara and Akshara. Shara means fallible. These are the people who deviate his true nature. Okay, in material world, everyone is fallible. Everybody makes mistake because they are conditioned. Akshara, the infallible, they don't deviate. All right, and these are the people in, if these fallible people in material world, where these people are?
Spiritual.
Yes, in spiritual world, everyone is infallible. They don't make mistakes. They are liberated. This is 15.16. In 15.17, Krishna says, superior to these 2, there is greatest personality called the Paramatma, the supreme soul. He enters the 3 worlds and he maintains the 3 worlds. Okay, so Krishna says there is 2 living entities, fallible, infallible, and he is beyond them. Okay, these verses actually it's not in your slide, but since we are not doing level 2, I am putting this in. So at one go, we cover this. Okay, so earlier we saw how Krishna maintains the entire creation as Brahman. Okay, all the lights and fire, digestion fire and everything. Number 2, he is as Paramatma, he maintains the world as localized God by giving us, what are the 3 things that he gives us? As seated in the heart, what he gives us?
Remembrance,
Mhm.
forgetfulness,
Mhm.
and remembrance, forgetfulness, and one more.
Forgetfulness.
Knowledge, yes, 3 things. Very good. Okay. All right. So that's how he maintains the cosmic at most cosmic level at personal level. So now he's going to give the 3rd aspect. What is the 3rd aspect? What are the 3 aspects? We cover Brahman, we cover Paramatma, we're going to cover
Bhagavan.
Bhagavan. Yes, please remember, so many times already repeated. Okay, so Paramatma and Bhagavan, usually the objects of worship of who? Who seeks God in these 2 forms? Anyone? Based on whatever knowledge that we have acquired.
Sages.
Yes, what do they do to realize God in these 2 aspects?
Meditation.
Yes, very good. So the object of worship of the yogis are the Paramatma. Okay, now Krishna will speak about the object of worship of who worships Krishna in the form of Bhagavan.
Mankind.
Devotees.
Devotees.
Yes, very good. Devotees. Okay, so you can see the difference right now. It's so good. You can see the difference already. Paramatma who worships the Dhyana yogis. Okay, the yogis. All right. And Bhagavan is worshipped by devotees because they want personal relationship with Krishna. Okay. And Krishna says here, 15.18. Can anybody read for us?
Should I read it?
Yes, Kushmataji.
Because I'm transcendental, beyond both the fallible and the infallible, and because I'm the greatest, I'm celebrated both in the world and in the Vedas as that supreme person.
Yes, thank you, Mataji. So this is a very, very important verse. And this is the verse that establishing that Krishna is the supreme person. Person means person.
Godhead.
Bhagavan. Purusha, no.
Yes, yes. Yamuna Mataji, say that again.
Purusha.
Yes, Purusha, supreme. It's actually the
Adi.
title. It's actually the title of the chapter today.
Is it Adi Purusha?
Adi is beginning, primeval. Adi. Supreme means? What is the title of the chapter today in Sanskrit?
Purushottama.
Yeah. So if person is Purusha, supreme is
Tama.
Uttama. Yes. Okay. So Krishna is establishing here his position. I am transcendental. I'm beyond the fallible and the infallible. I am the greatest. I am celebrated by the Vedas as that supreme person. So whoever the Veda is describing and glorifying and talking about, and that is the person Krishna is saying that he is that person. Okay. So this is the verses that I covered. Okay, so we will skip this. So I already covered that previously. Okay, so this is the final section. Knowing Krishna means knowing everything. So after knowing all these glories of Krishna, a person naturally will engage in his bhakti seva. Okay, whoever understands this will attain knowledge, realization, and perfection. This is from chapter 15, text 19 to 20. Text 19, Kushimataji.
Whoever knows me as the supreme personality of Godhead, without doubting, is the knower of everything. He therefore engages himself in full devotional service to me, O son of Bharata.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Mataji. So this one I explained already. A person who realizes, gets this knowledge, he understands it, and he will engage himself in full devotional service. Okay. In 20, Krishna goes on to explain about this knowledge. Yamuna Mataji.
Hare Krishna. This is the most confidential part of the Vedic scriptures, O sinless one, and it is disclosed now by me. Whoever understands this will become wise, and his endeavors will know perfection.
Okay, right. So Krishna also declares here this is the most confidential part of the Vedic scripture. So again, all the explanation or information that is given in the Vedas, Krishna is establishing here, okay, that Vedas are talking about me. I am the person. Okay, he's declaring that here. And he said, now I have disclosed this to you. And after knowing this, the wise will, they become wise, and the endeavors will know perfection. Okay, so the practical application here is that to know about the Supreme Person, we have to be sinless. That means when we want to perform the pure devotional service, when we come face to face in contact with Krishna in the spiritual world, we have to have the purity. Okay, so whatever we are doing now is a devotional service in practice. So we need to be sinless before we perform the pure devotional service. So this practice, this devotional service in practice will actually purify us. So this is the process. This is the preparation. Okay, so everyone must take to Krishna consciousness and devotional service to become intelligent and purified. Right, this is the conclusion of this chapter. So this is the last chapter. So it's only 20 slokas. So actually, I think I put in all the slokas already as much as I can. Okay, so it's not a very long chapter. Sorry. Okay, this is the last slide here. Who would like to read? Anybody would like to read?
Me again, Mataji.
Okay, Mataji.
Okay. One should always remember Vishnu and never forget him. All injunctions and prohibitions are based upon these two principles.
Yes, thank you, Mataji. So our goal is always this: always remember Krishna and never forget Krishna, so that we will remember him at the time of death. Okay, I'm going to spend some time to recap this chapter. Okay, so let's do it together. What was the first thing that we learned in this chapter?
Detachment.
Oh, Prabhu, did you see my slide from somewhere? I suspect something is wrong somewhere. You seem to know what's going to come next. Detachment. Okay, so could you elaborate that, Prabhu? Why did we do this topic?
Hang on.
Yeah.
Because of the banyan tree, right?
Example,
Yeah, banyan tree.
Top it off with an
Banyan
X,
tree.
so
Yeah, the banyan
we
tree.
can do that with detachment.
Okay, banyan tree. So we cut the banyan tree with the weapon of detachment. Something missing to complete that?
To go from material world to spiritual world.
Okay, very good. How about the
To get
what else?
purified.
Using
Okay.
knowledge.
Using what, Prabhu?
Knowledge.
Using knowledge.
And
Knowledge and
Determination.
Determination.
yes, very good teamwork. Yes. Cut with weapon or detachment, sharpen with determination and knowledge. After that, so you remember the flow, okay? So we are stuck in this tree. We are jumping from one branch to one branch. And then what happens after that?
Transmigration.
Transmigration.
Very good. Transmigration. Why? Our activities are influenced by?
Material world.
Fruits of action.
Actually, we are going in the wrong direction.
Okay, understand. With what? Nourished by what?
Desire.
Okay, what else?
Of course, attachment.
Attachment.
Fruitive activities.
Not getting the right term yet. What is that we learned in the last two chapters?
3 modes, is it?
Yes, nourished. These branches, remember, these branches are nourished by the 3 modes of material nature, and that is why we are transmigrating. Okay, so what did we cover under the transmigration topic? These two slokas. Remember, I asked a question and you all forgot. Now, do you all remember? Jayasilan Prabhu, I think earlier you answered that. What did we learn?
One of it was how to transmigrate, right?
Transcend,
Yes.
That's from the eyes, nose, ears,
migration.
mouth.
How, why, and what one gets. Okay, remember there was a caption here at the top right corner I put. What power? What was that?
Mind's
Mind's
power
Mind's power to
determine
Determine
Jiva's
the-
future.
to determine the future.
determine the future. Very good. Okay, so after we cover this banyan tree, after we cover the transmigration, we entered the Purushottama Yoga. So what did Krishna speak?
He is the source of light, sun, moon, fire.
Okay, what was the role that he's playing? What is the role?
The energy, he's the
Maintainer.
energy to keep everything in the orbit.
Maintainer. Krishna as
Maintainer.
maintainer.
At cosmic
Okay.
level. Okay.
Yeah. Pushpa Mataji
He's the maintainer at cosmic level.
and
Personal level.
okay. All right, very good. At cosmic level, what does he do?
Applies the juice of life to all vegetables.
Okay. That's second. Before that, number one,
It's a sun,
Sun in orbit is energy.
source of
sun, moon, and fire.
Energy,
sun,
source of
moon,
energy.
and fire. And then
Plants stay in orbit. Plants stay in orbit.
And the
By his
juice
energy.
of the vegetable.
okay, so in between the juice of the vegetable and source of life, Krishna says something.
He is the energy
Okay.
who
What does
keeps
he
and
do?
stays in the orbit.
Yeah.
Planets.
Keep the planets in its orbit.
In his orbit.
Very good. Okay, so that's Krishna as maintainer at cosmic level. At personal level, what does he do?
The digestion in our body.
Fire or digestion in the body. And then second
And
point,
the air that goes in and out, right?
yes. Digest how many kinds of food?
Breathing.
Four
All
types
kinds
of
of
food.
food.
Four kinds of food.
Five.
Four.
Four, right? Okay, four. Okay, so that's Krishna as what aspect? From what aspect he's doing all that?
Personal.
At cosmic level and personal level, from what aspect?
Brahma energy, is it?
Yes, Brahman, right? Okay, so the next one, as Paramatma, Krishna initiates all activities. What activity here he's doing?
Remembering knowledge and forgetfulness.
And then?
He's the knower of the Vedas. And he's seated in everyone's heart.
Yeah, very good. Okay.
At Paramatma level.
Okay, what else? What else we covered?
Summary of Vedas.
Two kinds of living entities.
Yes, two kinds of living entities. Very good. What are they?
Fallible and infallible.
Infallible.
Fallible and infallible. Okay, and then what else
Then
is
this
there?
is soul, the super soul in between, right?
Yes, beyond this
is the super soul. The spiritual world, yeah.
Okay, after that, what else he said? Okay, knowing Krishna means knowing everything. Okay, this one, okay. So this is summary of the Vedas we are saying. So Krishna is above fallible and infallible. And then he says that he is the supreme person celebrated in the Vedas. Okay, so that
All of the Vedas.
yes, knower of the Vedas, the goal of the Vedas, the compiler of the Vedas. So to establish that Krishna is the person who is spoken about in the Vedas, this is where we have that evidence in chapter 15. Okay, so remember that, okay? And that's how our Purushottama Yoga ends. The person who is different from conditioned and liberated souls, that means he is above the fallible and infallible, who supports and superior. He supports means talking about the topic that we covered on the maintainer, and superior to both of them, okay, is the Supreme Lord Krishna. Okay, so this is a little bit of Prabhupada's story. I think I'll keep this for tomorrow.
Also, you're supposed to remember Vishnu, right?
Yeah, the last one. I always remember Vishnu or Krishna and never forget him. This should be our slogan. Always don't forget that. So usually this is, I don't know how you all pray. I think This is how I pray. Sometimes when we're happy, we forget God. When we are sad, only we think about God. So we have to follow in the footsteps of Acharyas. Remember the Alvar who mentioned that in whatever situation, I don't want to forget you. Good or bad times, I always want to remember you. So in this way, we will not discriminate that, oh, when Krishna does good things to us, we glorify him. And when things are not so good, we will say, oh, why Krishna, you're testing me? So we won't come to that. All right? Otherwise, it's just mere sentimentalism. So we should not be like that. Otherwise, it will not last. So when you have this kind of knowledge, it will not be a fanatism and it will not be a sentimentalism. Okay, it is backed by good foundation and philosophy and knowledge. So in that way, your bhakti will go far. Otherwise, you're going to get frustrated because, oh, I've done so much. Why Krishna is not appreciating me? Yeah, so we will end up doing that instead. So that is very immature. It's not a perfect. It's not achieved the perfection yet. So the actual perfection is in both ways, because we have to understand that all these karmic reactions because of our own actions. Okay, it's not Krishna. Only thing that Krishna can help us, that when we engage in devotion service, it will burn our past karma. So that Krishna will help. Okay, for whatever suffering that we are going through, Krishna is not responsible. All right. Okay, so that's about it.
If we forget, we can blame Krishna.
Because he make you forget, is it? I think because we have not desired enough. I think that's why. So remember, previously Krishna mentioned that I will give you the understanding to come to me. So we have to show determination and then Krishna's mercy. So it's 2 in 1. Always remember the 2 inches short. One is determination, one is Krishna's mercy. Okay, so let's chant. Who wants to lead today?
Me.
Okay, Mataji.
We do kirtans there.
No, you can read like Hare Krishna, then we will follow.
Oh, you do. Can I not? Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. No.
Hey, can. Go.
Okay. 2 lines is it? The whole thing.
What, Paramprabhu, what do you prefer?
Yeah, 2 lines easier.
Okay.
Okay. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare.
Okay, go slow again. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare
Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna, everyone.
Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.